Hi, I'm Tom Paladino, and you're listening to Awaken Nation with Brad Zales.
A huge shift is taking place on planet Earth. People seem to be waking up. Tired of the way things used to be, they are creating something brand new and changing the world we live in. My name is Brad Zales, and I get to sit down with the next generation of idea makers, the disruptors, and the game changers. Everyday people, just like you and me, from all over, who are doing amazing things. Welcome to Awakened Nation.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever watched the movie Elysium or you're a Star Trek fan, we are starting to enter into a world where science fiction is now possible, where you can have healing modalities on a biobed. And if you don't think that's possible and you think it's still in the realm of science fiction, my guest today is Tom Paladino, and he's going to show you some pretty amazing things that'll blow your mind. Tom, welcome to Awakened Nation, my friend.
Thank you, Brad. Pleasure to be here.
Good. So let's dig in. You work with Scalar. Is that correct? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that correctly.
It's considered scalar light or sunlight. It's the primal energy of the universe. That's correct.
Scalar, the primal energy of the universe. So I'm going to read your bio real quick. Tom Paladino is a researcher and humanitarian seeking to make a difference in the world by providing people with the education and tools to restore optimal health and by helping enhance their quality of life. Tom began research with scalar energy after developing a deep admiration for the father of scalar energy research, Nikola Tesla. He was able to study the work of an inventor, Hieronymus, who continued research for scalar energy. Hieronymus' major contributions included unbinding the RNA DNA bonds of microbes plaguing the agricultural industry. The existence of such energy not found within the electromagnetic spectrum fascinated Tom. Inspired by these findings, he pursued a course of study seeking to better understand and subsequently harness scalar energy through the development of an instrument called Scalar Light, which utilizes free energy from the stars. Welcome to the show, man. I am kind of excited about this because I have to ask you first, let's explain what scalar energy is.
Scalar light. It's the light of the sun and the stars. It's the primary light of the universe. What do I mean by that? It's the initial light, the initial energy that powers the stars. It's not electricity. So why is that important? Well, if you're trying to recreate nature, if you're trying to work within the laws of nature, well, you do so by working hand in hand with those laws. That's what I'm doing with scalar light. It's fundamental. I'm following the laws of science. I have a scalar light instrument behind me that abides by those principles, by those laws of science. And when we can work within the laws of science, we find that we have an immutable task in front of us. We have immutable energy, energy that cannot be blocked, energy that cannot in any way experience entropy. Immutable, by that I mean it's flawless. The energy is flawless. Why? Light is fundamental. If I work with light, my approach is immutable. My approach is flawless. Now that should resonate with everybody because then it's a guaranteed process.
Right.
Working with light, there is no impediment. You cannot block this energy. And the energy follows the laws of science. It's not subject to the caprice of man. So, in the nutshell, it's consummate energy with consummate control over the laws of physics.
It's very powerful when you first discover it, because I was introduced to a couple of things, plasma fields, amp coils, things like that. And I won't go into details, but the thing is that I've noticed that this technology has been suppressed. I was a kid growing up in Pennsylvania, and I remember the farmers rarely used chemicals, to take care of the fields and things like that. Instead, they used to plant like eucalyptus. which gives off an oil and a vapor that bugs hate. So they don't go near the crops. So this is what they would do. But then along came chemical companies, and I noticed this happening gradually and more gradually as I was growing up as a kid. They were just introducing chemicals into everything and ignoring our incredible enriched past with all the knowledge that we have. I mean, I don't have to ask you this, but I know why it was suppressed. But do you get excited that this is becoming more and more acceptable nowadays?
I'm ecstatic. I have a sense of euphoria because this has been suppressed. And for the reasons that there's not the money and control that you have with other types of industries. But nonetheless, I'm ecstatic that the world is realizing that scalar energy, what some people call 0-point energy, is real. It's very real.
Right.
And as any convention or any type of scientific advancement, it betters humanity. This is poised to help humanity. Now, with that said, let's move forward. I'm on the side of progress, not prejudice.
Do it. Folks, if you're listening and you're kind of, baffled by what we're talking about, let me explain a few things to you. We have a medical industrialized complex, and we've had many guests on this show that have proven to you time and time again that this is what happens. The control that's in place is about money. And I don't want to go down that road today, but when they tell you not to go out in the sun, they're not telling you that because the sun's bad. They're telling you that because you can heal from the sun. And I discovered this when I moved out to Las Vegas. You're going to laugh, Tom. I had 35 years in New York City. I was pasty white, even in the summertime, even when I laid out in the sun and did things. And when I moved to Las Vegas, I spent every day in the sun, 110 degrees. I wanted to get acclimated to it. And something strange happened. My body healed, and I could literally see in the mirror the clock go backwards 10, 15 years. And I said to myself, there's something different about the sun out here. And so scalar energy, Tom has discovered or has rediscovered basically this as a healing modality. And this is the energy or the light of the sun. Am I correct? As you said in the beginning?
Yes.
How does it heal?
How does it heal? It is a first principle. Now, what do I mean by that? It's a first cause. We're not working with the chemical effect. We're working with the intelligence of the universe, a first cause, a first principle. So when we can, if you will, administer this corrective intelligence, maybe we'll use that term, corrective intelligence from the sun and the stars, it corrects our soul, mind, and body. So we start at the intellectual level. We start at the level of intelligence. We don't worry about the chemical level because the chemical level will eventually be influenced. Start with non-physical intelligence and it finds its way into the chemical realm. So we're putting ourselves in the driver's seat. If you want to control a car, you get behind the wheel. That's consummate control. You don't push the car. You get behind the wheel of a car.
Yes, I agree. And here's another point of view of this, and that is chemicals heal from the outside in, whereas energy permeates our bodies and it heals from the inside out, which is what you want. You want it at the cellular level. That's why infrared saunas are so important in our lives. It heals from the inside out. Wow, this is powerful. Now, you discovered this while working in the agricultural areas. Am I correct? What did you start to notice when using this kind of energy, this light wave?
I learned from the Hieronymus family. Galen Hieronymus was the inventor. I learned from his family members. I never learned from him. He was deceased. And he had a great career working with farmers in which he could submit this energy, broadcast this energy to a farm field or an orchard or if you will, even livestock, and he could eradicate microbes, bacteria, viruses, fungi, not only in plants, crops, but also in livestock. Well, if you can do that with livestock, you can do that with people. So my understudy began with this Hieronymus family, and that was my, if you will, my footing. And what they achieved was phenomenal. To this day, they haven't received the due reward that should be coming to them. Anyway, long story short, I studied with this Hieronymus family. I have duplicated these instruments from Galen Hieronymus, if you will, powered them up. And now I am poised, if you will, to present to the world this new energy. Some people call it Tesla energy or 0 point energy. It's poorly understood. Well, once you see the benefits, and once you read about what Tesla's achieved, Hieronymus, what I've achieved, it becomes rather clear, rather patent, that this is indeed fundamental primal energy. It can benefit humanity, and we're going to see a new way of living. Scalar light will change the social order.
That's powerful, because if you look at our food supply today, there's over, and this is old data, there's 15,000 carcinogenic chemicals in our food supply. And some people go, well, where's your proof, Brad? Well, just go to a supermarket and read the box, okay? Anything that comes in a box or a package has a chemical in it, a preservative, and it's really meant, they say it's to preserve the food, so it can sit on the shelf longer. But imagine what that does to your internal organs, because you can't digest something because there's a chemical in it that keeps you from digesting. And we don't need those things. We need energy and light. And this comes under the purview, I believe, of ancient technology that's been suppressed. Yeah. Do you want to show us some of these machines? Because I see them in the background. Those of you listening at home, I suggest you go to the YouTube video for this, because these, what do you call them? The Ark machines?
I call it the Ark of the Covenant, because I believe in the Bible, Moses and the Israelites possessed a scalar light instrument. I believe the Ark of the Covenant was a scalar light instrument.
Yeah.
This is a scalar light instrument. You'll notice there's no moving parts.
Right.
So where does the kinetic energy come from?
Where?
Comes from the sun and the stars.
Yes.
This is not a motor. It captures the energy of the sun and the stars. The motor are the sun and the stars. So what's the point? You do not create this energy. There is no generation of scalar energy. I do not generate the energy. I capture the energy from the sun and the stars. And I've said this a million times, the new power plant in the future are the stars.
Yes.
This is a miniature star. To the point, it's so much energy is being broadcast off that instrument, off the Tesla coil. If I hold a light bulb in my hand, the light bulb will illuminate.
Wow. It lights up.
Yeah. Now, I've proven this before, that scalar energy is so powerful it will pass through any object. I'm illuminating, if you will, a fluorescent tube.
He's lighting up a fluorescent tube in midair, still in the packet, I might add.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Observes no physical boundary.
Right.
This is a wooden board, a chopping board. If I place this by the instrument,
it still lights up. Wow.
The energy passes through the wooden board.
Wow.
Okay. So this is not electricity. This is a new branch of physics, scalar.
Yes.
Now, again, why is this important? Primal energy from the sun and the stars, it's not a chemical. There's no harm to it. It's life-giving. Scalar energy gives intelligence to the universe. So we're finally behind the wheel of the car. This is primal energy. Primal energy allows us to have primal control over nature.
Wow. This is powerful, because, when I was a kid growing up, my father, being a Hungarian immigrant, he basically forced me to read everything about Tesla. And this was part of the reason I wanted you on the show today, because Nikola Tesla worked with the invisible energies, the energies we can't see. And one of the things that you just said makes you realize, folks, we're like fish in a water, in a stream, in the ocean. The fish doesn't see the water. It thinks it's flying, probably. And the reality is here we are right now. We have energy around us at all times, vibrating. The tertiary field of the sun and everything else is vibrating. It's around us. All we need to do is grab it from the atmosphere, which Tesla proved you could do. because almost all Tesla devices did not have a plug to plug into the wall. Okay. And so you can thank JP Morgan for plugs and electric cars that we have to plug in. Tesla figured out you could grab it from the air. And he even says, and I'm going to mess up this quote, but he said, our entire world is electromagnetic. It's basically what he said. And Tom, you're just tapping into this energy that's already there, invisible to us, but it's tangible if you harness it.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. And that's well spoken. And this was the vision of Nikola Tesla. Now consider how we can solve problems. As a researcher, I solve problems. Okay? I deal with the reality of the world. I see the problems and I want to solve problems. Free energy means we no longer fight over resources. Free clean energy means there's no carbon footprint. There's no pollution. Free energy means we can eliminate mankind. You don't have to spend much money. In operation, it's relatively inexpensive. It's pennies on the dollar compared to the existing energy grid.
Yes.
Number 4, the infrastructure already exists. I don't need satellites or cell phone towers to distribute this energy. I distribute this through the ether.
Right.
I do not need to build an infrastructure. The infrastructure is the universe.
Right. And you don't need coal, and you don't need oil, and you don't need natural gas to power this. This is very powerful what you're proposing. The powers that be seem to have trouble with this kind of talk simply because this eliminates a very large system that relies on several levels within the system. And people don't, whenever somebody says oil, we have to replace oil. Well, they kind of may not understand our entire world is based on oil production. Plastic parts, car parts, rubber tires have oil in them, lubricants, all these different things. Imagine a world where the technology to do many of the things that we want to do is just pure energy rather than, light fire, harness the explosion. That's where we are right now. We're still in a Newtonian physics kind of world, and now we're stepping into quantum physics. So let's dig in more. How did you build your first machine? I mean, this is really impressive. What you have right here, the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes, you're right. I'm not the original inventor. Dr. Galen Hieronymus was the original inventor. He actually secured a U.S. patent for this instrument back in 1949. And at that time, I think there was more of a inquisitive spirit by all parties, including the government. Well, that's changed in the past 50, 60 years, which it really, what dictates policy is money.
Yeah.
And not scientific prowess.
Yes.
Long story short, I've worked with a group of engineers and fabricators. I'm not the only one at this. And I have developed a more efficient, a stronger scalar light instrument. So with this instrument, I can work with anybody in the world, not locally, in a non-local sense. What do I mean? Working with this energy, I work with people by way of their photograph.
Wow.
This is a new way of looking at reality. People can be in two places at once in the quantum field. People teleport to my laboratory by way of their photograph. This is my photograph. My photograph is my energy signature. I can be in two places at once. So people never come to my laboratory. They send me their bilocated version. They send me their energy field. I don't work in the flesh. This is non-physical information. I work in non-physical paradigms through energy fields on photographs. So what do I mean by that? By way of analogy, we're having a conference. We're making a discussion through our computers. You're not in my laboratory, Brett. I'm not in your office.
Right.
I see your image. We can communicate telephonically. Well, with scalar energy, I communicate with a photo. The photo carries the information. So This is the non-physical communication through force fields, energy fields. It has nothing to do with Newtonian physics.
Right.
It has nothing to do with Western science or Western medicine. This is a new branch of physics.
This is phenomenal because a photograph is kind of a holographic image, and if you're an empathic, intuitive person like I am, you can read the energy of a person. And I'm good for those of you who are rolling your eyes right now. My nephew, when he would have friends over for a party when he was a teenager in high school, they would hand me the yearbook, and I would pick a photo of someone in their class. And I would say, well, she's this, this, and this. And they'd start laughing and they'd look at me, they go, how do you do that? I can read energy in a person, and anybody can do it. But what Tom is telling us is he can help work with healing or helping somebody that may be going through something heavy physically, using this machine, this scalar energy machine, light machine that he's built, the Ark of the Covenant, and help you heal. This is fascinating, my friend. And wow, explain how you do some of that and how the machine actually heals people.
Okay. All of this is the healing from God. It's divine energy. It's not me. So going back to my previous statements, it's primal energy. There's no human reasoning involved. Energy does not need my help. Energy is fundamental. The energy of the sun and the stars is not dependent upon human reasoning.
Right.
If I can illuminate a light bulb, I can illuminate my mind. I can illuminate my brain waves.
Wow.
So if I place my photograph in the quantum field, there's an illumination of my mind, my chakras. That's how this works, through the quantum field. The photograph represents the person's energy field. And through illumination, through this energy, people say that they're no longer depressed. By imparting this information, this intelligence upon their mind, their psyche, they no longer procrastinate. Some people say they've been healed of drug addiction.
Yeah.
How is that possible? It's the inbuilt corrective intelligence of scalar energy. It's not
right.
Scalar light has inbuilt intelligence. It's pure divine intelligence. And when you download, when you impart that divine corrective intelligence, it corrects soul, mind, and body.
It aligns every energetic part of us back into maximum health, is what I understand. So, because I've laid in a plasma field out here in Vegas, and I got to tell you, I didn't know what I was getting into. And I get on the bed, and there's a plasma bulb at one end and a plasma bulb at my feet. So there's one at my head and my feet. And I laid down in this, Tom, and the practitioner, he sprayed me with a magnesium mist a little bit. Evidently, it has conductive properties. And I'm laying there going, oh, all right. And then I just felt warm a little bit. And I went to sleep for half an hour like I have never slept in my life. And I woke up refreshed. I looked around. I was like, what the heck just happened? And folks, if you've never experienced these kind of healing modalities or these energy fields or these things, I suggest you find a practitioner near you or you reach out to Tom, because this is the future. If they allow this technology to move forward and evolve the way it should evolve, we would have an amazing world where everybody was healthy. We could eradicate disease, and we could stop, using certain devices and cars and things like that. I'm not a big fan of e-vehicles yet, because they are not what they tell you they are. They're using lithium batteries and all this kind of stuff. Imagine an e-vehicle powered by a scalar energy machine. And it's not really a machine. It's an attractor. I can't call it a conductor. It's an attractor. Very, very powerful stuff, Tom. What else have you seen with this? Because, your neighbors are probably walking around going, wow, I feel great today. And I don't know why, but
I can program the instrument. I'll give you, for instance, I'm holding up in my hand a photograph of the herpes virus.
Right.
Everything has an energy signal. Now, why do I use photographs? You capture that moment in time.
Right.
I've captured the intelligence, the signature of herpes. Now, my photograph likewise has a signature. So I'm going to place these two photographs in the instrument simultaneously. My photograph is a signature, a force field. The herpes virus has a signature, a force field. The two are now communicating. The quantum field is a communication field. It's an automatic communication field. So the herpes virus is communicating with my quantum field. If I had the signal or the signature for herpes, the instrument would find the intelligence, the signature of herpes in me, and eradicate it. Don't think in physical terms, don't think in chemical terms. If the energy signal of herpes is on my photograph, the instrument, the energy will eradicate, will bring to a state of chaos the herpes virus. Okay. So with that said, downloading this intelligence, do we have good results? Here's one result of a woman who had the herpes virus for years. She submitted her photograph to us. After I worked with this woman, by way of her photograph, she felt better. And this gal went and had a follow-up PCR test of her own volition, and the PCR test was not detected, no detectable viral load. Thereafter, she felt better, and she's never had the symptoms of herpes.
Wow.
Can you explain that by way of Newtonian physics? No.
No.
I don't work with Newtonian physics. This is a new branch of physics. And this is where we have to inculcate, we have to educate people that there's another dimension, a plasma dimension, a scalar light dimension that is non-physical.
Plasma is light and energy. That's all it is. This is very powerful. And for those of you who might be curious about this, and there might be some of you who are like, oh man, this is off the deep end. I want you to go back and watch those old Star Trek shows. I'm not talking about the Next Generation. I'm talking about the original series. And I want you to take a look at some of the devices that they were showing on that show that are now in our everyday life. You know, they if you watch the episode with the Botany Bay, that was Khan, Noonien Sung. That was the first episode where he showed up. He was using what we would eventually see as a Macintosh, you know, with the diskettes and putting it in, you know, those single pads where they were, you know, recording things. Well, Dr. McCoy used to use a device where he would run it over the person and their bone would heal. If they had a broken bone or they had a skin lesion, you know, they had a cut, he would run this device over it and it would heal it in a matter of hours. Imagine being able to heal your bones like that, or, you know, do different things instantaneously. This is the beginning of that work, ladies and gentlemen, work that has been repressed for a very, very long time. I've done the studies on Dr. Royal Rife. He was the first person that I was introduced to frequency technology, frequency healing. And Dr. Rife is known for his microscopes. While he was working with two other doctors to do research on curing diseases in lab animals, you know, rabbits mostly, he couldn't see the pathogens get killed in real time while they were using frequency waves. And what he did is he invented the Rife microscopes, which have a liquid inside of them so that they can go much, much higher powered. And he won a Nobel Prize for this. And Rife microscopes are still in use today. Well, guess what? When he started introducing the Rife machine, frequency healing, guess what happened? He got blackballed everywhere. So this technology has always been there. And it's coming to the forefront now. And I think it's time, and I think people are ready for it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And that's a great analogy. Dr. Rife was a genius. Royal Rife was a genius. Yeah. But he was undermined. Yeah. He was working according to the laws of science. He developed scientific instruments that follow the laws, the principles of science. It worked. Well, why isn't he a household word? Why have very few people ever studied Royal Rife? He's suppressed. Tesla was suppressed. Royal Rife was suppressed. Yeah. And this is what happens when you threaten the military industrial complex.
Medical industrial complex, yes. I agree with you on that.
That's changing quickly.
It is. they're losing their grip because people are standing there going, I don't want chemotherapy and I don't want radiation to get rid of something that's going to kill me, bring me to the edge of death just so I can kill this whatever we don't understand in my body. That makes no sense. I followed the work of Hulda Clark, Dr. Hulda Clark, and she came up with, she was a biochemist, who would analyze tumors when they were removed from people. And she determined if they were benign or malignant. And she found that if she got a tumor that had been removed from the body within 2 hours of surgery and cut it open, she always found two things present within that tumor. One was a parasite of some sort, whether it was a fluke, a worm, a bug. She would find it at the center of the tumor. And the body's reaction was to create the tumor, to create a cocoon to protect the physical body. The second thing she found inside the tumor was a copious amounts of a solvent, a petroleum-based solvent. And so her work centered around that, and she created products like Clarkia and colloidal silver. And she was working with a lot of colloidal silver. But one of the devices she created was called the Zapper. And this ties into Dr. Royal Rife's work as well. And that is, they couldn't figure out when, let's say, somebody was electrocuted, they were punished on death row and they would get electrocuted. They'd throw them in a coffin, but worms and maggots would still profilate from the person. They'd be like, well, isn't all that killed inside the physical body? Well, they discovered that those organisms are given a house to live in. And when we're about to die, we turn on a switch in our body where they start to eat up our body. And when we eventually die, then they grow bigger. Well, if your body is acidic or you're eating a bad nutritional diet, those things are living in you right now because you're giving them a beautiful home to live in, because the American diet is literally signaling the physical body that, hey, you're going to die. So it's in this perpetual thing. Imagine a scalar energy field that would just heal all this in, what is the modality that you use the most?
There's three modalities. We're able to eradicate microbes that I demonstrated by matching up the signal of a photograph of a microbe to the person.
Right.
Two, I can take a photograph of a vitamin, and download that energy of the vitamin into the person's force field. And then the first session that I mentioned, the first protocol, if I can illuminate a light bulb, I can illuminate the mind and the seven chakras. And why is that important? Because light dictates our thinking. Light dictates our endocrine system. Light dictates our cellular mechanism. Light dictates metabolism.
Right.
What do I mean? Everything starts with light, which is intelligence, information. So before you have a biochemical process, you have to have light, some type of intelligence that guides, that governs those processes.
It's the energy field that is truly us. There are some people who wake up in the morning and they look at their physical body and they're like, I'm this body. And there's some of us who wake up and they're like, oh, I'm getting back into my physical body. Like, we know we're not, the physical, the flesh, to quote Master Yoda, not this crude material, are we? But the reality is that we are energy inside this physical body, and we leave it upon death. If you want to talk, God stuff right now, what you're talking about is really activating some of this soul energy, because I believe as soul, we are a spark of the divine. God made this light being, and it has innate intelligence and command over our physical body. We just haven't been taught anymore how to access or tap into that.
You're right. That's absolute. It's a shame today, even in the scientific community, they concentrate more on the effect and not so much on the cause. I don't know why they do that. Why not concentrate on the cause? Then you can have a better command over the effect.
Right. Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. The reason I'm into all this stuff is because my father was a chiropractor. And so I grew up with this knowledge of the body can heal itself. And I remember being really, really sick one year. I was a kid. I might have been 11 or 12. And I was run down, and it was the summertime, and I wasn't feeling good. And I said, and it was rare. I didn't like being adjusted as a kid. We don't like that. So if I went to my father and said, Dad, I need to be adjusted, he's like, okay. So he takes me in the office, and he gets me on the main table, and he works on my back, and he does the subluxation, and then he feels my neck, and he goes, I got to put you on the other table. And I hated the other table because it hurt. And the other table was where you lay sideways, and they basically stretch out your neck, and they're going to shove it down sideways on the sides. I hated that adjustment. And he went in and he went, boom, he toggled hard. And my dad was a big man, but I got up, I pushed him out of the way, and I ran into the kitchen and I threw up. And in that moment, I had cold sweats and everything. And all of a sudden, I felt like I had never been sick a day in my life. All the energy returned. When he had hit my neck on the side like that, the blood went from my head straight down to my toes and back up to my head. I could not believe it. The release that took place from natural medicine. And from that moment on, I mean, I've always been a believer that the body can heal itself. I've used reflexology, everything, acupuncture. I've seen miracles take place that they literally don't want you to know. And they're simple, simple things that, as you said, Tom, they are part of the realm of God. Your body has been built to do this. Your body has been created by something. You can be an atheist all you want, but this machine didn't just show up one day. The divine creator, even scientists and evolutionists are all sitting here going, there's something that interfered with human evolution. They call it evolution, but there was a divine creator or designer. They have to admit that, and they hate to admit that, but that's what they're doing right now. This is in the realm of quantum physics, wouldn't you say? Because you were talking a little bit about quantum entanglement. So let's talk about that.
I'll explain what I've discovered. All energy initiates as scalar energy. It's a double helix. Well, what do I mean by that? It really looks like our DNA. Here's a photograph of a scalar wave.
Whoa. Uh-huh.
It's a scalar wave.
It does. It looks like a double helix of a DNA strands.
And by the way, this double helix of a scalar wave is the exact ratio and proportion of DNA.
Wow.
Now, that's not a coincidence.
No, it's not.
Double helix of scalar energy creates and maintains DNA. So we're working at the wheelwork of nature. This is the life molecule brought to life by scalar light.
Wow.
So scalar energy, scalar light creates and maintains DNA. That's how important this is. Now, if that theory is true and accurate, then we can achieve homeostasis. We can achieve perfect health through perfect energy.
Yes.
That's where we're going with this.
I liken it to a guitar, a 12-string guitar, not a 6-string. The sympathetic chords, you hit the one chord, the others start to resonate. So maximum health, if you could program that into a device and the resonant field encompasses you, you will raise your vibration naturally within this field. And anything that doesn't belong within the field is basically blown up or destroyed or drops from that energy field. And they have proven in quantum physics that this world is an illusion, because for a long, long time they said, well, the atom is the smallest, particle in the universe. And then they go, electrons, we were wrong. It's electrons and neutrons. Then they're like, okay, we weren't completely right. It's quarks. And then eventually, they get to, and then now it's just like, they now find in the quantum field that everything is plasma. It's basically light and data. That's all it is. Our entire world is an illusion. It's light and data, and only our brains and our public school system teaches us that this is solid matter, and we're programmed to actually see this as reality when it's not. And this scalar energy device right now, what it does is it actualizes your God-given ability to heal through vibrational frequencies. And God bless you, man. I love what you're doing. I really do.
Thank you. Thank you. And to support that, all action begins with light. Light is fundamental. There's only one fundament in the universe: light, energy. And every other chemical, physical property is given rise to by light, by some type of instructions, by some type of intelligence.
Yeah.
So I don't know why science and the community, scientific community, starts at the chemical level when they should start at the intellectual level, the level of intelligence, light. Light decides the chemical universe, not the other way around. Why not put yourself in the driver's seat, which is energy, light? Why concentrate so much on the physical world where that's the effect? Why not concentrate on the cause? Right. In other words, if you did that, you're finally driving the car. Sadly, the scientific community prefers to push the car rather than to drive the car. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It doesn't. And growing up in the medical community, I can tell you right off the bat, the number one thing that I learned is exactly what you said. Go to the cause, the root cause of why you're having a problem. And it gets me in trouble all the time. I was driving with some friends, and my friend's wife says, "Oh, my sister has restless leg syndrome." And I said, "There's no such thing as restless leg syndrome." And she got furious with me. And she goes, "She's on a medication for it." I said, let me correct what I just said. If you have restless leg problems at night, there's two things going on. Your nervous system is damaged. Something is agitating it. And secondly, that's a coronary condition. You have something going on with your heart. I said, you've got to check your heart. That's the cause, the root cause of what you call restless leg syndrome. They just want to sell your sister drugs, okay? They don't want to solve the problem. And today I would have told her, get on copper and start drinking cayenne pepper, because cayenne pepper rebuilds the heart muscle, and clean your arteries with, chelation therapy. So these things are becoming, normal everyday occurrences now, where people are kind of sitting there going, I've been going to my doctor for years and I'm not healthier. I actually have a friend who says, I'm on 5 medications, and he thinks he's healthy because he's on 5 medications. I really have to bite my lip sometimes, Tom. But you're right. You're getting to the, go ahead. I'm sorry.
People are brainwashed. They think that this is the only way, that Western medicine is the only way. No, there's some good points about Western medicine, but there's many approaches to medicine. There's many approaches to mental health and physical health. Sadly, the problem with the American medical model is the Rockefellers. That's the problem today. The problem with American medicine are the Rockefellers. And sadly, a lot of medical professionals don't realize that. I don't hold it against them. They've not done their homework, obviously. That's the problem with American medicine. It's the Rockefellers.
I agree with you. And for those of you who don't know, just do your history. Go start reading what happened. I used to work in the pharmaceutical industry. Yes, I'm not happy that I did that. I'm a little ashamed, but doing what I did, I didn't wake up. All the training I had growing up, I thought, just like most people, these people are the bastions of knowledge and all this. And then I'd read some of their scripts for their meetings, and I'd be like, you can't possibly believe this. And I realized they do. And it took a number of years for me to say, you know what, I'm done here. People are taught that, when you're birthed, what else is birthed? A ship is birthed. You need a dockmaster to stand there and go through everything that's there, the dock tender. Well, your doctor is the dock tender. He's taking care of you according to commerce. And so a lot of the things that you are, going through, and you're not getting healed and you're not getting the results, it's because you're not fitting into the this medical industrial complex we talk about. If you go to the top medical college in the country, which is Juniata, it's sponsored by and supported financially by pharmaceutical companies. And do you think they're going to teach you something that isn't going to use a pharmaceutical drug? No. They only teach 3 modalities, and that is surgery, chemical or pharmaceutical, or a device, a medical device. They'll fix your bones. That's what they're for. They'll put your body back into shape. I'm not knocking surgeons. Surgeons are brilliant. You have a car accident, you need somebody to put you back together. But we're talking about day to day, let's say using these devices as a normal modality, you could live to be 144 years of age. That's 12 cycles of 12 in perfect health. And I can tell you some of this work that I have done, it works. It is not a joke. It's not quackery. It's not nonsense. It works because I'm in my 60s. Okay. And I can, go down on my knees and get right back up. When I'm working outside, I don't have aches and pains. And it's all because I use some of this technology, folks. So please reach out to Tom Paladino. We should go to scalarlight.com. Is that correct? SCALARLIGHT.com. He has a 15 days of free Scalar Light sessions. Talk about that a little bit. That is a really generous offer. Thank you.
Thank you. Why do I do that? I want to prove that this works, or you're going to prove that this works. Now, any researcher should be able to prove their research. I want to prove my research. How do I do it? I give away 15 days of free sessions to anybody on the planet. Anybody in the world can sign up for 15 days of free session. You can send in photographs of your family members, if you have their permission, include your pets, and then you prove to yourself. You judge by the efficacy of these sessions, these quantum sessions, this plasma field, if you benefit soul, mind, and body. I think you will. Most people say they do benefit.
I've seen this stuff perform miracles. I have seen it take place. So get in and try it, ladies and gentlemen. What do you have to lose? You're gonna feel energized, and even if you feel a very subtle shift, like your body warms up a little bit, you're not dealing with menopause the way you did. It's worth it. And look at Tom. Tom looks very healthy and energetic. He gets down on the floor. I have a few. Your people sent me over a few headshots, and you're down on the floor with the tubes and everything. I'm like, this guy's got agility still. So we don't have to age the way we were told to age. Many of the things that are you call aging, ladies and gentlemen, is really your body losing its energy, and some of the food you're putting in it is not food anymore. So this will help combat that, and it's exciting. Are there any other ways to get a hold of you, Tom? Do you have social media, things like that?
We have social media. It's on our homepage. The best thing and the easiest method, go to our website, scalarlight.com. Sign up for the 15 days of free sessions. There's no obligation. Anybody in the world can sign up. Our media posts are at the bottom of our homepage. You can follow our social media posts. But the key is for you to experience this by way of the free sessions.
I always find that people turn to these things and become convinced when they've actually gone through a health crisis. And they sit there and they've tried everything, and they just kind of go, nothing's working. Let me try something else. And then they're flabbergasted that this works, and the medical community is not talking about it. So I find that interesting. Do you find that to be true?
Of course. That's the way it is with our medical community. This has been suppressed, and you need a second viewpoint. You need an alternative. I realize the plasma field is quite alternative. I realize working through a plasma field on a photograph is avant-garde. It's cutting edge. I realize that, but that's how cutting edge my work is.
It is.
I think I'm the only one in the world with this type of instrument, so my work is unique.
Yeah, I like your work, and I was thoroughly impressed that you're going there. A lot of people don't like to talk about God, They don't like to talk about where that energy comes from, that divine energy, that spark that's in us. But it's there, that energy that Tesla tapped into. And I forget who the scientist was, but he said, you can start out being an atheist at the top of the barrel of science, and as you dig down, you will always find God at the bottom of that barrel. Yeah. And I'm horribly misquoting that quote. It is a very powerful quote. Why else are they looking for the Higgs boson particle? That is the glue that binds everything together in our universe. They also call it the God particle. Why would they be looking for that? That's why something built this world. They always say we are living in a simulation, and I tend to believe it. This is a big experiment right here.
Thank you so much. So we've come full circle. What millennia ago we believed in God. God has sadly been eclipsed in our lives today. We'll come around. We'll realize that the first cause is God.
Yeah.
When you're working with energy, it's inexplicable. Who created the stars? God.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I agree. At the end of the day, someone asked me if I believed in God. I burst out laughing. I said I wouldn't be able to achieve anything on this planet if it wasn't for God, because quite frankly, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Coming from a very working class family. Even my father, who was a doctor, we had to work. So, I believe we're entering into a new world that hopefully all these things will bring into light the suppressed technologies that, and by the way, folks, the elite, the rich, the powerful, they use these things. Just want to let you know that. Why did Queen Elizabeth reign for so long? She had 3 naturopathic doctors and 1 regular doctor keeping her alive for years. Yep. Okay, so when you poo-poo this, or you laugh at it, or you mention it to your doctor and they laugh at you, guess what? The elite, those that we call the rich older families that have been around for generations, there's a reason why they live so long. They hire these people and they give the peasants, cough syrup. Yeah.
That shows how inimical they are, obviously.
Yeah. So we're going to go into the lightning round real soon, but there's something called quantum entanglement, and some of the work you're doing is part of that quantum entanglement field. And that is that if 2 people get together and they begin to resonate, no matter how far apart they get, they go through similar events. And I proved that to myself. My very, very best friend is Dieter Hauer. We've known each other since we were like 11, 12 years old. So we're looking at 50 years of friendship. And after 2 weeks of just going through a lot of nonsense, I called him. I said, I had a flat tire on Tuesday. And he goes, wait a minute, whoa. I had a flat tire too on Tuesday. I said, mine was on the driver's side. He goes, mine was on the passenger side. And we just started laughing at some of the nonsense, that we were resonating with. So we already have that quantum entanglement joke that I go, what happened to you this week? It's a very similar thing. So
quantum entanglement. This is why some mothers have a feeling of premonition that their children are in danger, or that their children are having a tough time. How do they know that? They're quantum entangled. Their emotions, their thought patterns, their plasma fields are quantum entangled. How do some people have deja vu experiences? Other people have the gift of prophecy. Some people are clairvoyant. Some people can see the future. Some people can read a person's aura. That's all plasma information. That's the quantum realm.
Yeah, it is. It so much is. Thank you, Tom Paladino. Thank you so much for being here on Awakened Nation, my friend. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Folks, reach out to Tom. We're going to go into the lightning round right now, and I'm going to ask Tom a series of questions. This is very exciting. Are you ready?
Yes.
My first question is, what is your most passionate thing that you're working with right now?
The healing ministry. Bringing God's healing, divine healing to mankind. That's what I'm passionate about right now.
Fantastic. I love that. What is the big lie that you are constantly having to correct with people?
People don't have confidence in themselves, and they give away their power to the establishment, to what I call the one world order. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you catch people lying to you, if you catch people who are not after your best interest, don't entrust them. Today,
Right.
there's a lot of falsehood. There's many lies. Be careful. Sadly, you can't trust everybody.
Awesome. And my third and final question is, what is your greatest hope for the human race?
That we unite, that we stop fighting. If you consider there's 8 billion people alive and everybody worked together as a coordinated unit, and we all helped and abetted one another, it would be paradise on earth. We are self-destructing because we're fighting one another. Can't do that.
God bless you, brother. Thank you for being on Awakened Nation, Mr. Tom Paladino. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
You bet. Hey, everybody, tune in next week. We're going to have another extraordinary guest here on Awakened Nation. Don't forget to go to www.scalarlight.com, www.scalarlight.com, and sign up for Tom's 15 days of free Scalar Light sessions. Do it. Don't hesitate. Get on there, and I appreciate it. Until then, bye-bye. See you next week.
Thank you so much for being a big part of the Awakened Nation movement. This is how you can help me and our extraordinary guests. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please share it out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And let's grow this movement by word of mouth. Our success will be because of you. Thank you, and see you next week.